This is the south wall. Actually, it's not a wall. It's a great big garage door. I referred to it in my article this month as a heat exchanger, and that's exactly what it is. It exchanges all the heat in my garage for all the cold air outside. That is the biggest thing I want to get rid of in my new shop. The garage will never have a car in it again, at least as long as I'm in that house. So I plan on taking out the garage door and putting in a wall, some windows, and maybe a double door so I can have access with larger stuff. I hope to get some larger stuff one of these days. Maybe one of those big, planers or something like that. But anyway, I want to get rid of that. That's an uninsulated garage door, and it rattles in the wind. It makes a strange moaning sound sometimes, and you can literally feel the frigid air coming through it. So that's very high on my priority list. My lumber rack has served me pretty well. I kind of like the design of it. In the back there's slots for sheet goods, and in the front of it there's long shelves for lumber. And then up top I took some old wooden wine boxes and built cabinets for the wine boxes to slide in and out, and I have little short bits and pieces of wood in there. And then I incorporated a dust hood into the lumber rack where I can plug my dust collector into it and turn it on when I'm running the radial arm saw. I can't do everything at once in my new shop, but at some point in time I may retire this radial arm saw. I love it because it's accurate, but the only reason it's as accurate as it is because I never move it. I make 90-degree cuts with it. That's it. I don't raise and lower the blade, I don't tilt it, I don't turn it. I have it set, locked in, clamped down, and it makes good 90-degree cuts. But I may get one of those nice compound miter saws, maybe a Festool, if I win the lottery or something, and get rid of that. It has a very large footprint. Okay, moving right along, still on the south wall. Again, big honking garage door, full of cold air. In fact, I'm going to have to stop in a minute just to warm my hands up so I can finish this video. But I wanted to show you a couple of things. These little portable tool stands, I may actually keep these. I've modified them so much. I put a shelf on the bottom with wheels. I've screwed in the middle shelf that comes with the stand. And on the top, I built new tops that fit over the original tops. And these tops are braced and have a French cleat at the top. The idea being there that you can put a small benchtop tool on there. Like on this one I have my Craig stuff for pocket hole joinery. And over here I have an oscillating spindle sander. You can actually lift the top off, hang it on a French cleat on the wall, and put a different unit on there. And that actually works pretty good, so I may keep that. Okay, I stood in front of the heater for a minute, so I'm good to go, at least for a few more minutes. This is the southeast corner. I can't explain it. For some reason, I'm kind of emotionally attached to this old bench. I think this might have come from a big box store or maybe even Sears. It's so old I can't even remember getting it. It originally was just a bench with a particle board top. I built a wooden platform underneath it and locked the legs into the platform. I actually built the platform around the legs and put it on wheels. That was the first modification I made. Then I came back and braced the back because it was starting to rack side to side. And then finally I came and made a new top. I covered it with Formica, and for a long time I used this for glue ups on smaller projects. Now it's kind of shoved in a corner. It's got a couple of drawers, so I sort of use that for junk. And my leg stock for my desk projects up there right now, a couple of drawings and some other junk. I'm not sure. It's been with me for so long, I kind of hate to give it up, but I might be able to do something a little bit better in my new shop. We'll see. Again, temporary. I put up a lot of perforated pegboard. Pegboard is great. In fact, I've used it in every shop I've been in, permanent or temporary. Well, I guess they're all temporary since I'm here now. But it also has some limitations. I'll probably still use some pegboard in my new shop, but maybe not as much. Over the years, I've noticed I've been using less and less and less. One of the ways I can tell is I have a container with pegboard hooks in it, and it's getting more full and more full as time goes by because I'm using less and less hooks. But it is handy for some stuff, and has worked out okay here in a temporary situation. This wall, when I moved in here, even though I knew it was a temporary shop, this wall was uninsulated. So I did insulate this wall. I put paneling across the bottom and the pegboard on top and paneling up above, and kind of finished off this wall. I kind of ran out of energy at that point, and I needed to get the shop finished. So the other walls were already finished. I just repainted them and moved on. That'll stay behind, and whoever moves into this house after me or leases it or buys it will probably love having this stuff over here that they can use for their tools, whatever they want to do. So now let me show you the area where I spend most of my time. Well, we've almost come full circle. Over here is the door to the outside. This is my where I spend 90% of the time in the shop. Sorry about these cords. They're going to go away in the new shop, I hope. My bench. My favorite part of this entire shop is the window. I love the view out this window, and I spend a lot of time here. I get a little natural light. I've got pretty good light over the bench. Could possibly use more, but we'll see how that works out. I've got a little shelf back here with my cup warmer. Notice there's no cup of coffee there right now. I've got to do something about that. I have a whole variety of remotes. There's a remote for the TV. There's a remote for some remote switches for fans. If you want to see how I use those fans up in the rafters, there's a video called Cheap Trick on making your own dust collector you can watch. Whoa! And my hands are cold, sorry. This is the remote for this little infrared heater down here, which helps. It's a little spot heater. There's also a remote for the video camera. It's in my pocket right now, but normally it's sitting up here. And I have measuring and marking tools over here. Some tools that I use quite often here at the bench. A chisel rack down here, I'm not sure you can see that, and a cabinet that I built for my planes. This all I like. This is my favorite area of the shop, and I will replicate something like this in my new workshop. Possibly when I replace the garage door and put windows, might be the perfect place for my bench. We'll see how that works out. Let me show you just a couple of other things that I learned in this temporary shop, and some things I hope to do differently in my new shop, and maybe a couple of things I'll carry over and sort of do the same way. When I first moved in, I was being cheap, and I knew this was going to be a temporary shop, so I did not insulate in the roof. I should have done that. Temporary or not, I've been here for a little over 2 years, and the energy savings I would have realized and the comfort I would have realized from the warmth would have been worth the cost of insulation. I will not make that mistake again. Another thing that I hope to get rid of in my new shop is the garage door opener. That thing it's unplugged, but it has been a bugaboo ever since I first moved in. It's always in my way. Under my workbench, where I spend most of my time, that sounded really stupid. Who wrote this script? I spend most of my time at my workbench, not under it, but under my workbench, I put down these dry core boards. Pretty nice. They have a plastic material on the back that creates an airspace, and then the wood itself is a little bit more comfortable. So it gives a little insulation from the concrete floor. I later came back and put this rubber material over the top for just a little bit more cushioning. The dry core boards are good, but they're meant to go wall to wall. They have they lock together, but if they're not secured wall to wall, they come apart. And that's created a little bit of a problem. I will be putting down a wood floor in my new shop. I may put these wall to wall, or I may use tongue and groove 3/4 inch ply. I'm just going to have to get in there and see what works the best. So there it is, the Down to Earth Woodworking shop as it has been for the last 2+ years. Built a lot of projects here, have some fond memories. There's some things I like about the shop. There's some things I learned that I want to do differently in my new workshop. And speaking of that, I'll be posting a video shortly of the blank canvas, so to speak, the garage as it stands right now. It's pretty rough, a lot of work to do in there, so be sure and come back and look for that video in a few days. In the meantime, I hope you picked up a couple of hints whether your shop is temporary or permanent, and I hope if you have some great ideas for my new workshop, you'll send them along. Post them at the Highland Woodworking blog. I'll incorporate everything I can, or that I can afford, into my new shop. Till next time, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you soon.